Welcome back to another episode of Video Game Reviews. Today I'm going to be talking about Gris, or Gris, or however you pronounce it, on the Nintendo Switch. So to start off, wow, incredible. I paid like $3 or $4 for this, which should be a crime. I was initially skeptical. That's why it took me so long to get around to playing this game. Gris, it just reeked of contrived pretentiousness, or so I thought. That's the impression that I got from everything that I saw and heard about it. But I have to admit, I was so very wrong with that assumption, at least in the beginning. And we'll get to that. Gris, I'm just going to call it Gris from here on out, is an absolutely stunning work of art combining visuals, audio, and interactivity in, an equal measures might be a bit of a stretch. It's more of a work of art than a game, I would say. But anyway, it uses the combination of those elements to create really a stunning experience. Again, at least in the beginning or in parts throughout the game. It does falter at times, but we'll get to that. But Gris might just walk the line perfectly between what people recognize as a, quote, video game and in truly being an interactive work of art. If you're expecting a standard platformer or even a puzzle platformer, you wouldn't exactly be correct. It does have some of those elements in here, but they definitely, I would say, take a back seat. However, look, if you're open to an experience that doesn't fit neatly into a pre-constructed box, yet is very much worth experiencing, Gris is definitely worth your time and the little bit of money they're asking for it. Okay, and now a transition in the review. So everything I've said up till now is true regarding first impressions of the game, and like I said, you'll see some of those qualities sprinkled throughout. However, upon putting more time in and, eventually completing Gris, my opinions changed somewhat because the experience changed somewhat, and not entirely in a great way. Even this brief and mostly very easy game outstays its welcome, in my opinion. And it only took me, I didn't really time it, I'm going to say somewhere around 5 hours to finish this game, and that was even a bit much for this particular experience. I think it could have easily been about an hour shorter. Kind of tighten things up, focus on your strengths, get rid of the weaknesses. The beginning and the end of Gris are stunning, as are parts in the middle. And so let's dig in now. Here's the deal with Gris. It is kind of amazing as an interactive work of art. When it's focused on being that, it really excels. It's actually when Gris dips its toe into like some attempt at actual gameplay from time to time, when it starts to feel less like experiencing a piece of artwork and more like you're playing a video game, that's when it starts to wear thin on me. Particularly the last segment or two before the end of the game. At times, these two were still beautiful, but in my opinion, these sections were pretty tedious to trudge through. I guess that's what I'm trying to say here. The presentation is stunning, it's unique, it's just got a lot of flavor, but the gameplay is barely a game, so shy away from that. You know what I mean? As the developers, focus on that beautiful experience with some interactivity. Don't try to make it a game. It just straight up is not a game. Not really. So yeah, a lot of times when it delves into those gameplay segments, it does become tedious to trudge through, like I said, but I think in a piece of software like Gris, momentum is incredibly important. Maintain that sense of momentum, of moving forward, of experiencing this world that they've plunked you into, because at times, again, particularly near the beginning of the game, Gris has a lot of momentum, and that's where it really shines. That's where it's at its best. And it's when the pacing slows down that the whole experience really just starts to struggle, in my opinion. The developers of Gris could have benefited from taking notes from the developers of Bright Memory Infinite Gold, who were really pretty skilled with the pacing, I feel like. Not perfect, but, they understand a few things about what it means to keep the pacing up. You can see my review for Bright Memory Infinite Gold here on the channel. Just show me pretty things, keep the visuals novel, changing, exciting, combined with the beautiful audio that they have here in Gris. But even the characters' ethereal singing was starting to grate on my nerves by the end of the game. Like, it's supposed to be calming and soothing, and for the most part it is, but as the game starts to drag, you're just like, lady, shut up, enough. I just felt like, all right, Enya, let's wrap it up. Anyways, for the right price, I would still say it's worth checking out. It's still an experience worth having. It is a small development team. While I'm probably going to uninstall this game, update I already have, I don't mind throwing them a few dollars on discount. You got some clearly talented artists here, and they definitely, it's obvious that they put some real work and passion into this game or this project, but it's just, at the end of the day, it's not really my bag, and I won't be checking out their follow-up game Neva, which is already out. But Gris wasn't really good enough to get me to want to continue following their work, unfortunately. Like I said, it's worth experiencing, but do I need to become a follower or a fan of theirs? No. It was a nice experience, but see ya. Anyways, apparently the follow-up game, Neva, leans a little bit more into being an actual video game, but I'm not really sure that that's this team's strength. In fact, I'm pretty sure that it isn't. In my opinion, I would advise them to lean more fully into this idea of interactive artwork with a sense of forward-driving momentum. I think that they have a rare talent for that, and if they really committed themselves to something like a more avant-garde Telltale game, you can tell a story without so much dialogue. They would want to do something with less talking than a Telltale game, for sure. But I think they really could be on to something if they just change their focus. But anyways, look, what do I know? I have the impression that they've achieved some measure of indie success anyways. It is a 3.8 gig download and will take about 5-ish hours to finish, I think. It normally sells on the eShop for $17, but I would wishlist it and wait for a sale, wait for it to get down under 10 for sure. Anyways, that pretty much does it for this one. Click on like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time, whenever that may be. Bye-bye.